And welcome to the latest and greatest from Step Brother Sports, part of the Hockey Podcast Network. You can listen to us anywhere you find your podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, review, all those other great engagement functions you can do for us and for the show. Always appreciate it on any of the platforms that we're on. You can follow me, Chris Maz, at CFMAZ, and Shaun V at SV the Don, NHL, and on YouTube at Step Brother Sports. So happy belated 716 Day to all those in and around Western New York. So props to all those involved in raising over $1.4 million donated to the Western New York area charities. Love to see it. I want to make sure we get this plug in right off the bat too. So a big announcement for us. So come see us this week as we both travel back to Buffalo to be a part of Mafia Con. We'll be doing a live show on Saturday, July 19th at the Seneca One Tower at 2:05 p.m. We'll be joined by a special guest and friend of the show, Mookie Hawkins. He's of Wiffle Sports 1080. We cannot wait to see everybody there and what the event and day will have in store. So, but a couple quick things related to that, and we'll move on. Big thanks to Del Reed, his team at 26 Shirts, Zach Sheldon and his crew, and all those involved for putting it together. So just a couple other things about the event itself. Come see all the other live podcasts, including ours, the vendors that'll be there, meet some of the Bills players, the rookie class mostly, and autograph signings through TSE, all the food vendors, drinks, all things Bills Mafia related. It's going to be an awesome time. We can't wait to ring in a new Bills season together with you, Bills Mafia. But now on to some bigger things on our end here. We are just 1 week away, like we said before, from the true start of NFL training camps across the league. The NHL offseason is now in a complete lull, even after the Sabres signed Bowen Byram to his 2-year, $6.25 million average annual contract. And they even signed first-round draft pick Radim Murka to his 3-year entry-level deal. And we're also coming off the All-Star break for the MLB. And we want to do a little bit more of a baseball chat today for good reason, because Shaun and I are super excited to bring on today's guest. He's covered the Buffalo Bills for over 4 decades and gives outstanding commentary on the team in his written work for the Rochester Democrat and Chronicle and on his podcast, BLEAV in Bills with Adam Bonini. He is an accomplished novelist with many books about the Buffalo Bills, New York Yankees, Buffalo Sabres, Syracuse University Athletics, and countless more. So some really great stuff. He'll also have no problem putting you in your place on social media if you insult those beloved Yankees of his, or just have a general clown takes overall. And then they'll also make sure to really speak his mind if his Yankees aren't exactly performing up to expectation. We're honored to welcome Sal Maiorana.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, guys. Yeah, usually it's me insulting the Yankees, not the people. Then the people insult me about insulting the Yankees. That's how it usually goes on Twitter. But yeah, happy to be here, guys, and ready to rock and roll.
Awesome. Yeah. Sal, again, we really appreciate you coming to join us for this. Obviously, we wanted to make sure you still can enjoy your vacation, even despite yesterday's rescheduling. It was, gave me a good chuckle when you called yesterday, too. So I appreciate you being flexible with that, too.
So, well, that's what happens when you get old, is I'm just not, my brain doesn't function, especially on vacation. I'm sitting there reading a book on the deck, and 3 hours later, I realized, oh, shit, I got to go back. I forgot about the podcast. So, yeah, I appreciate you guys having me back today when my brain is functioning again. But, yeah, so sorry about the reschedule.
Oh, no sweat it. But overall,
someday you're going to get there, man. When you get to be my age, you're going to wonder, wow, how did I forget that? But, man, it happened.
Actually, Sal, you're in good company. You're one of 2 very esteemed guests that have missed the original taping of the pod.
Oh, yeah. Who's the other one?
I'll let Chris unveil that.
Oh, for which one again, Shaun? Sorry, say that one more time.
Tim, Mr. Graham.
Oh, Tim Graham. Yes, Tim Graham. Yes,
oh, Graham.
Now you're amongst. We have 2 now, so we're pretty esteemed guests that we've missed.
Okay. He's a little younger than me, so shame on him. But
right.
Yeah, but anyway, Sal, how's summer been going for you? How has vacation been going overall? Just tell us a little bit more about what you've been up to.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, that's part of being old, is you get a lot of vacation time. So I've got like 7 weeks that I get to spend. And I spend a bunch of it in the summer. So yeah, this is awesome. It's my favorite time of the year. I mean, I used to love training camp, and obviously I enjoy the season. But as I've said, the older I get, man, vacation takes on a whole new meaning. So it's a summer of music for me. Listening on my headphones every day. We got the summer of Oasis this year with the Oasis reunion tour. We've got the Springsteen U2 for me. Everything. I'm reconnecting with Pearl Jam this summer. So yeah, it's been pretty good.
Speaking of Springsteen, did you see that movie trailer with Jeremy Allen White? That looks amazing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to. In fact, we just finished. My son's home. He's a teacher, so he's home for a good chunk of the summer. And we just barreled through The Bear last night, which he's great in. That guy is great
show.
in that.
Oh, fantastic.
Great show. We just finished it last night, and I even commented because the soundtrack this year was awesome. There was a lot of good music in that soundtrack. That show must cost a fortune to produce with all those, all those royalties. They got to pay for that music, but it was a good soundtrack. So we just finished it last night. Great show. Yeah. So yeah, that's what we do on vacation. I listen to music, read books, and watch TV at night. Watch the Yankees. So yeah, it's a good way to live, man.
Yeah, do what real people do instead of just living and breathing by what a single team does all the time.
That's right. That's
yeah.
right.
But anyway, Sal, what we like to do when we introduce newer guests for our show, we always love to hear their origin stories about what got them in essentially into covering sports. So, Sal, tell us again what got you into the profession. Maybe share a few of your most fond memories that stick out to you, whether it's being a fan of any of your teams or even just your time on the beat as a reporter. We'd love to hear.
Yeah, geez, how much time do you have here? I don't know if we cover it all, but look, I knew, I'm one of these rare people that knew when I was in sixth grade what I wanted to do. I just always wanted to. I started reading the newspaper when I was about 10 years old, growing up in Syracuse, and then I got in sixth grade. I had a great English teacher who saw that I had a love of writing, and she kind of, got me pointed in the right direction. And it all started there. And I always knew I wanted to write sports. That's all I did my whole life was play sports when I was a kid and watch sports. So I knew exactly what I wanted to do and went to college for it. And, got in the business, it took about 9 months after graduation in '84 before I got my first job in Little Corning, New York.
Yes.
And it's just gone from there. I got to Rochester in '86, Thanksgiving of '86, and I've been here ever since. So, yeah, it's been a great career. I just always knew that I wanted to be a writer and I wanted to be a sports writer. Particularly, we could be here all day talking about memories and this and that. I'm finishing. I actually just finished it 2 weeks ago, with the stadium being in its final season. They asked me to do 53 memories for 53 years, right? So I went back and obviously I covered, probably 80% of the games I wrote about, but I also wrote about games that I attended as a fan when I was a kid growing up in the 70s when the stadium was first built. I was there for the very first game, the preseason game in 1973. And ever since, I've been to tons of games as a fan. So many memories. The stadium. I'm going to miss the stadium. I'm not exactly, looking forward to leaving. I still call it Rich Stadium.
Right.
I've spent most of my
Ralph,
life.
Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. I mean, I've spent so much time in that place. It's kind of sad for me to be going over to the new place next year because I've literally have grown up in that building. I could tell you stories forever about games that I attended. And it's just been a great time. It's been a great career. I really have enjoyed every moment of it.
Awesome. So, Shaun, I know you wanted to kind of get another little connector piece, kind of alluding what we were talking to off camera.
Absolutely. So, Sal, for every new guest we have on the pod, we do a quick degrees of separation segment just to look into what we may have in common. And for you and I, there are a couple good ones. So I want to run down those quick for you, if I may.
All right.
All right. So you are a fellow Buff State grad from the communications department, like myself. Always love to see fellow Bengals thriving in their careers. You've been doing it for a long time. And now, living and working out of the Rochester market, it's also a market very close to my heart. I went to kindergarten in East Rochester and had my mom and I stay living there. I would have been a East Rochester Bomber instead of a DPU Wildcat here in Buffalo. Okay. And then also my first job immediately after college actually led me back to downtown Rochester, where I lived on Meggs Street and Park Ave. So I could walk to work as the bar manager at Club One on East and Alexander. And finally, my favorite connection is I got to go back circa 2014. I once stood next to you in a media scrum after practice at St. John Fisher. And I have a picture of it. I'm actually going to show you. I have it here. We're neither one of us are in the frame. But let me see if you can see this here. So that would be 2014. That would be Chris Brownie. That would be us interviewing Chris Hogan, the receiver. If you remember him.
All right.
And there's Mookie. And the reason why I know you were there is because I remember asking Mookie after practice that day. I was basically being the camera guy for him. I said, "Who's that like Italian guy? Like he's like super cool." He's like, "Oh, he's like that's Sal. He's the man." And he said he's from Rochester Democratic Chronicle. So that's back in 2014. I was there. We were both there, and so
All
I
right.
wish you would have been in the picture. But yeah, so a couple Rochester connections for you.
Well, I actually, my first apartment was in East Rochester. I lived in Gleason Estates, right off the 490 there. Lived there, 5.5 years, got married, and we moved out, built the place out where we live now. My daughter lives in East Rochester. My daughter's getting married in a week and a half.
Oh,
congratulations.
Yeah, my oldest daughter, my youngest daughter got married last year. They live in East Rochester, her and her fiance on Filbert Street. So yeah, we still have a lot of East Rochester action going with those two. So yeah, but East Rochester, I love it. A great place to live. Perfect for everything. Close to everything. It was awesome.
Yep. I was there. I stayed until about started first grade. So I was just there as like a young kid in that kindergarten. The school that I went to, I believe it's now a BOCES facility. I'm sure you probably know the one. It's like a vocational type of school or something now. But I go back and visit every so often. And it's cool to go back and visit kind of, I have very few memories, but I do remember like hanging out with the kids in the neighborhood. And I remember Jonathan's restaurant at the corner had some amazing food, but cool. Hopefully we'll be able to see you in Rochester soon, man.
East Rochester, actually, they merged with, I live in a small little town called Gananda, which is east of Penfield. Actually, we're in 315. We're in the 315 area code.
Yeah. Okay.
Not even 585. I'm just over the line. And East Rochester and our little school merged together for football about, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago. I was part of when we first started the Gananda youth football program, I was part of it at the start. Same with the lacrosse program. And we built the football program to the degree where East Rochester was about to lose football because they have no enrollment anymore. So they needed a merging partner, and they ended up merging with us. So we've played, it's been about 15 years since they've been together. So yeah, all kinds of East Rochester connections with me and you.
Yep. And training camp. I think Chris is going to talk about training camp.
Yeah, perfect segue there. So obviously you now covered countless Bills training camps, Sal, whether it's at SUNY Fredonia or at St. John Fisher, as it has been for a period of time. What's been your favorite part about the team, if you have one, congregating in Rochester as opposed to their home base in Orchard Park? Just kind of start things off.
Well, obviously the best part about it is 20 minutes from my house. So that's definitely a nice thing for 2 weeks. Yeah. Training camp used to be about almost 4 weeks back when they first started. Well, back at Fredonia for sure. And then even at Fisher, they would stay 3.5, 4 weeks. And then ever since McDermott came in 2017, they want to be in Rochester, but they cut it back a lot. So we're down to, what is it, like 10 practices now? So they're not here very long, but I sure enjoy the fact that they are right in my backyard, because the worst part of the season for me is when they leave Fisher, and then there's that like 3 weeks between the start of the season and, so training camp was still going on. So driving to Buffalo for practice is a little bit tedious. I don't mind going for, Wednesday media day and then, the games and everything, but man, going there for practice can be a bit of a pain in the ass, if you know what I mean. So I really enjoy them being in Rochester for the 2 weeks they're here.
I can only imagine. Yeah. But along with that too, I mean, the biggest thing the Bills take away from that is just the camaraderie and team building, not to mention they're probably going to eventually at one point have some moments where they'll want to kick each other's ass just because they're sick of each other, just going moment after moment, play after play, and the blazing sun. There's not a whole lot of shade on that field out there, as we've all come to know. But still, I mean, I know it's a big deal, especially for that area of Western New York, to get the team to just come over there. And it's been sold out every single year that Josh Allen has really ascended to what he is. It's like it's impossible to get tickets. Our sister, she's got tickets for the first day with her and our nephew. So we're looking forward for her having that great opportunity there. So shout out to Kelly again. But now getting a little bit more into the weeds with the Bills, of course. Much has been really discussed about the defensive overhaul the team has really undergone this offseason. Now, we've spoken with a few others about this, some other guests we've had on in the past. But really, three position groups we think are going to have some big battles this year. We think more so than others. And obviously Hard Knocks is going to have a big deal with this too. Those position groups being the defensive line, cornerback, and safety, all three of those rooms. Out of those three, which position do you think has the most riding on it for needing to make a really big jump to have a substantial impact on the field this year?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's the defensive line. I mean, they've invested so much capital, not only in free agents, but in draft picks, really, since 2019 when they picked Ed Oliver in the first round. And as far as I'm concerned, they've never truly gotten their bang for the buck with that D line. They've been good. There's been years when their pressure rates and all that secondary statistic stuff looks good, but there hasn't been enough finish from this defensive line for really forever, it feels like. Especially in the playoff games. They just have not excelled. Those have been the weakest moments for the defensive line for the Bills. So, they went out. I think they realized this year that they had to address that need in particular. They knew they weren't going to bring Von Miller back. They know AJ Epinesa is just a guy. Now, he'll be on the team, but he's just a guy. Ed Oliver, I'm starting to think, is just a guy. I mean, we're going into 7 years of Ed Oliver, and he has never been the number 9 overall pick. I don't care what anybody says. He had a couple nice years, but he's never been to that level of player. So they went out and they've done some interesting things. Now the Bosa signing, we'll see. It was worth the swing for $12 million 1 year. I don't have a problem with that. The issue has been he's been an injured player for 3 years. So I don't know if this is going to be Von Miller 2.0 or what. I hope he can get through the year, because I think he can help the Bills. I think he has enough of that. He still has enough talent. He's younger than Von Miller. I think he can have an impact if he can stay on the field. So that, I think, is a good move. And then obviously in the draft, they knew they couldn't screw around. They addressed their defense. The first 5 picks were on the defensive side, and I like Sanders, the second-round pick. Now, I say I like these guys, fellas. Who knows? You don't see anything I love how my media brethren make all these proclamations in these mini camp practices. We don't know anything, especially about defensive linemen and offensive linemen in mini camp. It's just silly to say anything like that. So we'll see when the pads go on. But I like what I've seen, and especially in college, of TJ Sanders. I think it was a good pick. He's sort of similar to what Ed Oliver can do. He's that size, 297 he came in at. So he'll be an Oliver type player. I just hope they can get a little more bang for their buck, a little more impact than they got from Oliver. I like Landon Jackson, hoping this injury, whatever he has, that's going to put him on PUP here, isn't serious. I like what he can bring. And then Deion Walker, I really like the pick, but he's also one of those guys who could be a boom or a bust. And we'll see. He's a 4th rounder, so it's tough to say. I guess it's tough to say boom or bust on a 4th rounder, but the potential for him to be a difference maker is certainly there. With that size and that athleticism, if he could put that package together, he could definitely be a guy that replaces, Daquan Jones after this season. So I like what they did there. So it'll be interesting to see how that group comes together, but they need to get a defensive line that can be game altering, because they just haven't had that for several years.
Yeah, completely agree. It's like a lot of lottery tickets, essentially, between Bosa, between Sanders, between Walker. Heck, even looking at Ed Oliver at this point, like, just the production hasn't been there. Also, side note, I just saw this pop up on my phone. A little breaking news in the NFL. Mike Williams of the Chargers, formerly of the Jets and Steelers last year, is retiring from the NFL. So that's a big shocker right there. But anyway, back to the D-line again. I mean, it really is a make or break year for a lot of them. I mean, I completely agree with you on AJ Epinesa, only because, like, is he able to dominate on maybe a lesser offensive line or maybe a lesser tackle? Of course he can. I mean, he's got the speed to show it for sure. And he's had a few splash plays here and there in the last few years, but just overall, his snap count is really diminished. And he ultimately just has not really, like, provided that impact since he arrived in the 2020 season. Like, I know he was the first overall pick, because that was the year the Bills traded for Stephon Diggs, and he was the first draft pick made by the team that year. But still, like, he's left a lot to be desired. I know we've been critical of him in the past, but still, the rest of the D linemen, I mean, you also have Daquan Jones returning for another season. You wonder what he still has left in the tank, too. It's just still being in that space eater role on the line, often lined up alongside Al Oliver. You hope to see a really big bounce back year from that. But still, I think aside from the D-line, me personally, I think that the safety room, more so than the cornerback room, is going to be of a concern just because the Bills signed Derek Forrest. They re-signed DeMar Hamlin. Taylor Rapp is coming back. You can argue Jordan Hancock, one of the draft picks, can be slotted into the safety role there, if not like in a nickel position to maybe replace be on the field if Taron Johnson goes down. So I think that's going to be a bigger concern just because, again, Cole Bishop has some bigger shoes to fill this year and likely taking that next step and being an every down player on the field. I mean, what are your thoughts on that currently, Sal?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big year for Cole Bishop. I mean, he was a second-round pick, and I know his season got messed up when he got hurt in training camp last year. It kind of set him back for the whole year. He was starting to come on at the end of the season. He actually played decent in the AFC Championship game. I think he had 10 tackles that game, so he was starting to show something. But then he's hurt. He was hurt in minicamp again. Like all of a sudden, where is he? He's not out there. So he's got to stay healthy, and he's got to lock it down. And again, play to your second round status. I mean, I know the draft can be a crapshoot. You never quite know what you're going to get. But, Epinesa was a second rounder who just is, like I said, has been a guy. They need these first and second day guys to be more impactful. And Bishop is right at the top of that list. We had 7 years of Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde just being the twosome. You never had to worry about a thing back there. And then Cole Bishop is supposed to step in and be one of those players, and he just wasn't last year. I think Taylor Rapp's fine. Taylor Rapp is a good player. He's not great. You could trust him back there. He's a good athlete. I think they're perfectly fine with him. They need Cole Bishop to step up and be the guy they thought they were drafting. And then behind him, who knows? I mean, DeMar Hamlin, nice guy to have around. I'm kind of surprised he's back, actually. But it kind of proved my point, guys, that his story is amazing, right? It was an amazing story, but he's just, he's an average player. He shouldn't have been starting last year. If Cole Bishop hadn't gotten hurt, I would imagine that Hamlin wouldn't have been starting. And when he went in free agency, you saw that he had no market. So he's back on a 1-year deal for the Bills. Good. He knows the system. They can plug him in if they need to. Derek Forrest, I don't know. We'll see. You didn't see a whole lot of him when he played for Washington, special teams guy. I heard a couple people, some Twitter people from Commandersville saying that he'll be your best safety. Well, we'll see. I mean, I don't know, but we'll see. I hope that he can bring something to the table. But yeah, Rapp and Bishop are the guys, man. They've got to have those guys come through and be, a solid twosome, not just this year, but in the years to come.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more on that, Sal. And I agree with you. I did see some pundits out there. I think it was the Commanders, like fans or people that cover the team, say he's a little bit of a ball hawk. He makes plays on the ball with his limited snaps. So that's good. But as far as Hamlin goes, he's never been above like a replacement level player. And I think, for my money, I can't have DeMar Hamlin starting at safety for a team with Super Bowl aspirations. That's just, he doesn't have the athleticism to get back like on deep passes. He's shown that he can't play there. But I want to talk to you a little bit about on the offensive side of the ball. We talked about a lot of these guys with injuries like Cole Bishop last year. On the offensive side, there's been a lot of conversations so far this offseason about which players or players need to take a step forward in the skill position group, kind of lumping in pass catchers, tight ends, and receivers. Keon Coleman, obviously going into year 2. Dalton Kincaid finished the season hurt, obviously, and wasn't really himself. And Curtis Samuel being hurt for a lot of last season, and then making some plays down the stretch. 3 players that many are looking at needing to become bigger contributions this year. So out of those guys, and if you have any others, feel free to name them. But which players do you see being the most important for the growth of the offense in this everybody eats era? And then I guess why?
Yeah, look, I mean, Kincaid is the one everyone is talking about, right? I mean, there's a first round pick. They traded up to secure him. I think I was in the minority in his rookie year. Everyone was just so blown away by Dalton Kincaid. Yeah, he had the most receptions ever by a Bills tight end. Well, look through the Bills tight ends. It's really not saying a whole lot. And what I kept pointing to with his rookie year, he caught a lot of balls, but I think he had 73 catches. I think I broke it down. 60 of them were within 9 yards of the line of scrimmage. It was a bunch of low impact, short throws. He didn't really give them much run after the catch. I mean, 73 catches, he had 670 yards, I think, so it was less than 10 yards a catch. When they picked him, I remember Brandon Beane coming into the room the night of the draft saying, this is the down the field tight end that we've been looking for. He can get down the seam, make big plays. He's a wide receiver in a tight end's body. Well, I didn't see that his rookie year. I saw him make some nice plays, a lot of catches, not a lot of impact. And then last year was a bust. I mean, he got hurt. He was going okay until he got hurt. But again, I thought it was a lot of what we saw the rookie year, the first, whatever it was, 9-10 games. And then once he hurt the knee, he was never the same player. So this is a big season for him, not only because they've got the decision on the fifth-year option that they have to make next spring, but he's got to be the guy they thought they drafted. They need a tight end to get down the field and make plays. It'll open up a lot of other things for the offense. What I keep going back to on Kincaid is that I don't understand why they made the pick in the first place. I never understood. They had just given Dawson Knox, who they love, the contract extension. And it was a pretty hefty contract extension, given that he was a third-round pick who didn't exactly have blow-away numbers. I think his best year was 49 catches before he signed the deal. Well, you just gave him the deal, and now you're going to pick another tight end, and you weren't going to go two tight end like everyone thought they're going to be a two tight end offense. No, of course not going to be two tight end. They got a lot of receivers. They still had Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs at the time. So I didn't get the pick to begin with, so I'm a little frosty about it. I need Kincaid to be good because I don't know why he's here in the first place. They could have gone a couple other directions in that draft. So he's the main guy for the offense. And then, you've mentioned a couple other guys. I'll be curious on Josh Palmer. I liked the Palmer signing. I mean, before free agency started, I put together a bunch of stories, but one of them was receivers. And he was on my list of guys that I thought could come here and do some things for the Bills. He can work downfield. He can get open, something that Keon Coleman struggled with a lot last year. So I liked the Palmer signing. I hope that turns out to be one of their better moves because I think he could really help Josh Allen with some of the things that some of this receiving core couldn't do last year.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on the Dalton Kincaid thing, especially just like this needs to be a huge year from him. I read the Tyler Dunn piece about him earlier this week when that came out. And I think just a lot of the feedback he received and obviously really taking it hard on just dropping that crucial pass in the AFC Championship game. I think he based on what Tyler posted in it, he really took it to heart, and he was living in the weight room essentially the entire offseason, even staying in Buffalo the whole time. So hopefully that will lead to like a bigger jump, of course. But I mean, I was surprised also at that for that same draft pick and that same draft class year, just because you saw receiver after receiver go right before Kincaid was picked. And then the Bills traded up. They went over and got it. I guess it made Dallas a little disappointed that they didn't get him. But still, like, it was definitely a unique one at the time. And like you were also saying before, there weren't necessarily world beaters before him. I mean, a lot of people thought Dawson Knox might become that elite tight end, and especially with the money he's getting paid. And even now he's taking a pay cut just to remain on the roster. So who knows what that'll entail for him in future years too. But I'm actually pretty high on Kincaid, especially just reading that piece from Tyler Dunn at Go Long TD. So again, shout out to Tyler, another good friend of the show. But another one I'm really keying in on, like you also mentioned, Josh Palmer. I think he will benefit from the fact that Palmer will be on the field, Keon Coleman, that is, and be able to not only be a little bit more physical against some of the smaller cornerbacks out there, and maybe even just more so than that. You saw he put on a little bit of size and muscle this past offseason, and then a little bit of mandatory minicamp and some OTAs this year. But I'm hopeful for him. I'm not expecting like 1,000-yard receiving year by him by any means, but I do hope to see a level of improvement and just some durability more so compared to last year.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are skeptical about the Bills wide receiver room. I'm not one of those people. I kind of like what they have. I mean, they don't have a superstar. Not every team does, though. Not every team has Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase and A.J. Brown or whoever else you want to lump into that category. the Bills have a lot of guys that are serviceable. They all do a little bit of a different thing with their skill set. And they've got Josh Allen pulling the trigger, which is the most important thing. I think he can get the best out of all these guys. The late spring signing of Elijah Moore is interesting to me. Again, you don't see a whole lot in mini camp. You see more with receivers and DBs than you would linemen, obviously. But he looks like a guy that they could definitely utilize in a couple different ways. I like that. He's sort of like Curtis Samuel, actually, probably a similar player. So maybe they're fighting for one spot. Who knows? But I like the addition of Palmer. If Coleman can make some progress, the biggest issue with Coleman is he couldn't get open. That was his, he realized pretty quickly that this wasn't Florida State in the ACC anymore. I mean, he had trouble getting separation in his routes. He wasn't winning routes enough, didn't give Allen enough of a window to throw it to him. He had a couple nice plays, a couple good catch and run plays, but he needs to take a big step forward because I don't think he was anywhere close to being a truly serviceable player last season. So that's going to be a big thing to watch for the Bills. And then Shakir, I think Shakir is still Josh Allen's favorite because Shakir is the kind of guy, we used to call Chris Hogan 7-Eleven, right? Always open. I think Shakir is the same kind of guy. He always finds a way to get open, whether it's man or zone. He is a guy that Allen knows if A and B are not there, I know Shakir is going to be open somewhere and I can get it to him. He's such a nice player. And there we go. The draft is a crapshoot, right? That was a 5th round pick out of Boise State. And when they picked him, nobody even blinked an eye. Like, okay, big deal. Who was he? Well, right away, we saw right away what a good route runner and catcher of the ball that he was. Really good player for the Bills.
Absolutely. He's, I think, over 95% catch when targeted percentage?
Well, last year, or 2 years ago, I think he led the NFL. I think it was like 88% catch rate. It slipped a little bit last year because he had a lot more targets last year. But I think he led the NFL in 23 for guys who qualified in catch percentage.
That's great to have him. I know Chris wants to talk a little bit about moving to some hockey, but one guy you did mention, Elijah Moore. I do think he has a similar skill set to Samuel, but I think you might see Elijah Moore more on like the deep routes, like fly routes, and Samuel more so in like the motion, horizontal type things across the field. But I think he's a sleeper. I think Elijah Moore is going to make this roster, no doubt.
Well, what's interesting about him is you look at his track record. I think I want to say he's had more than 50 catches for 4 years in a row. And that's with shitty quarterbacks.
Right.
He's had nobody. He's had nobody to throw the ball to him. Right. And now he's got Josh Allen. So I think that could make a big difference for him. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do in this offense. I think he could help them.
Yeah, sure. Between Samuel and Elijah Moore's speed, and even Josh Palmer for that matter too. All three of them just adding like that dimension that the team has really not been able to like enjoy and experience. They've been looking for a speedster, just somebody to just go down the field and be able to catch it, whether it's a deep ball or just getting open in the middle of the field. So I'm really excited about all of those. But as Shaun was mentioning there, Sal, we are a hockey show first, and we do have to ask you, unfortunately, some thoughts on the Sabres. Obviously, you've got plenty of ties in the area in Rochester with the Amherst, of course. They're coming off a pretty solid year, unfortunately getting knocked out by Laval. But now, like we said in the beginning of the show, Bowen Byram, he's inked to a 2-year deal. JJ Peterka traded for Michael Kesselring and Josh Doan. Alex Lyon brought in as a backup goaltender. Who knows, maybe even more, depending on how he plays. No promises out of UPL at this point in time. Connor Clifton sent to Pittsburgh along with the draft pick, bringing in Connor Timmins, shoring up that third pair of the defense. Many fans, ultimately, us included, of course, were really hoping to see more from the Sabres in what looks to be a real make or break season for the front office, including Kevin Adams. And it's not really acting like he's acting with that urgency, of course. And it's kind of funny, just ironic on how Jason Zucker was saying hope is a shitty strategy. Well, they're really banking on hope again. Do you see any positive path forward for the team with just some of the changes that they made, or that maybe hopefully to end the 14-year playoff drought, or do you just kind of see more of the same?
Yeah, again, all things on the table. I don't follow them as closely, not now, but certainly not like I used to. I used to cover the Sabres when the Bills were done and the Sabres were relevant. I would, Kevin O'Klubsch was our hockey writer, or was, in Rochester, but he covered the Amherst. So I would often get to do the Sabres. So I was much more in tune with the team when they were relevant back in the 2000s. And then I covered the last playoff one, which was 2011. So now I'm on the periphery of it. But of course, I watch the games or as often as I can through January. And then I kind of tune out because they suck and they're out of it generally. But, you got to figure at some point karma's going to be on their side, right? 14 friggin' years. So that's what I'm pinning my hope on, is that at some point the Squirrels finally going to get the nut and they're going to make the playoffs. I like parts of their team. I mean, I do like parts of their team. Goaltending's always been an issue. And, UPL fooled them with that one really nice season. He gets the long-term deal, and he wasn't very good last year. You talk about the Amherst. Now I see them obviously more than I do the Sabres live. And I liked what Devin Levi showed last year. He had a really good regular season. I think he had 7 shutouts, which was most in the AHL. He had a really good playoff series against Syracuse. And then Laval was just a better team. Laval was a better team than Rochester, and he did not have a good series. And if you don't have a good goalie in this series like that, you're not going to win. So they got knocked out. I don't know if he's ready, guys. That's why I think they signed Lyon. I think Levi needs another year of seasoning down here. I read somewhere they were saying like the best goalies in the NHL typically have about 100 games in the AHL before they get to the league and then become who they're going to become. Levi still only played about, I don't even think it's 70 games yet in the regular season. So I think there's a little bit more to go there. The potential was certainly there. When he's on, he's really good. But as we saw, when he gets up to the NHL, he's had some trouble with the elite players in the world. So we'll see on that. But I like the Bowen Byram thing. I was a little bit concerned that they were going to let him go. I don't see how you give up on talent at 24 years old, right? So I'm glad they got that deal done. Pair him with Dahlin, let them grow together, and they could be a really good pair together. They were a good pair last year together. So keep that moving, and then you've got to figure out the bottom 6 of the forward group, right? I mean, they have nobody. Who do they have? You guys know more than me. I mean, I can tell you the top 6, but they have nobody in that bottom 6. And I don't think he even addressed it well enough. Maybe he did in your eyes, but I certainly wasn't blown away by what their offseason moves were.
It was a lot of two-way contracts that were added, right. And really just you could see more of those players going to and from Rochester. I know it's kind of funny. Actually, this is more of a defenseman. Zach Jones, a Richmond guy, believe it or not. So shout out to Zach Jones, who just recently got signed. But I know Josh Stone, who was part of that return on the JJ Peterka trade. He's had not as many games in the NHL as he has the AHL, but he's seen as someone with potential. But again, that's a lot of that hope really coming into play. Right,
Shane Doan's son got good bloodlines.
Right. I know Shane Doan was pursued by the Sabres, I know, a long time ago, back when he was still playing, of course. But again, a lot of this is just really like how much hope is going to spring eternal for the team. I mean, nobody knows at this point in time, just because we've talked about it hours on end at this point on this pod. But still, we're just kind of curious to hear your thoughts on that. But I mean, you really just don't know until they lace things up for their training camp when they come back in September. I mean, there's still a chance they might make some type of trade. I know there was a player on Columbus that was just announced a little bit ago, Chinikov. He had some connections to Jarmo Kekalainen, the new senior advisor of the Sabres. When he was back in Columbus, he was a Jarmo draft pick. So, hey, maybe that'll be something that the Sabres might pursue. But at the same time, when we have talked about it plenty before, Kevyn Adams has been too slow on the trigger finger to really make a move. Of course, I mean, obviously plenty of people and platforms have talked about that, whether it's just shaking things up in the lineup when they're just going through a big skid of losing, or ultimately just maybe even picking up a guy off waivers that just got found, just to maybe just get a little shot in the arm, or just putting the team on notice that, like, hey, your ice time isn't always guaranteed, especially if you're not performing up to snuff. So yeah, but anyway, now to kind of segue a little bit more of a positive thing of sorts. But Shaun, I know, wanted to talk a little baseball, especially because we don't get to talk about it too much. And if you also notice, we're on some Pittsburgh Pirates hats. Now, I by no means am a baseball aficionado. I'm more so just following the team just as by way of Shaun more than
vicariously.
Yes, vicariously to just be as being generous there. And I even follow the Blue Jays a bit, and I know they're doing pretty well this year, especially when they were playing in Buffalo, of course. But still, I'll let Shaun kind of take it here to lead some MLB chat.
Yeah. So, Sal, I'm sure you did. Did you end up watching the Midsummer Classic? You watch the All-Star game?
No, I have no use for the.
Okay, I was going to say
game. I haven't watched the All-Star. Yeah, I haven't watched that since I was a kid. It's just meaningless to me.
Well, cool.
Especially now. I mean, nobody takes it seriously.
No.
It's so stupid. I mean, I obviously I saw the highlights the other night.
Right.
I read some stuff, and the home run swing off, whatever it was, which sounded pretty fun. But I mean, what the hell are we talking about when Aaron Judge and Ohtani have already left the building in the 6th inning? For Christ's sakes, nobody takes the All-Star game seriously, not even the players. Yeah. So you've got those guys that were in that swing off. Like, what the hell are we doing? So yeah, I think they should just do away with All-Star games. They never will because they make a ton of money on those stuff. But I don't watch it.
Gotcha. Well, I did want to give a quick shout out to your guy. So Max Fried, he ended up he reached out, I guess, to the starter, which was Skubal from Detroit, and basically they figured it out. He let Skubal go and be the starter, but Fried they were very kind of cordial, and obviously Fried had experience, being in Atlanta for several years as the ace there. And so that's just kind of cool. I like it's like when the guys pay each other for their jersey numbers in football, kind of a similar thing. But I want to talk to really two main topics. I want to talk some Yankees with you, and obviously I got to talk a little Pirates related to Yankees. So at the break today, Yankees currently sit 2 games back of Toronto, which is definitely a surprise, I think, for first place in the AL East. Toronto's certainly overperformed so far this year. And now coming down the pike, Boston is a perfect 10-0 in their last 10s going into the break. Rays, as I know, I have a winter home in Clearwater, St. Pete. Rays are always tough. They're lurking. But we'll love to hear your insight and opinions on how you think the Yankee season, that division will play out, as well as who do you think will actually come out of the AL this year if the Yankees will repeat like last season.
Yeah, I mean, the season started so well for the Yankees. They were up, I think it was May 28th. They were up 7 games in the division. They were 8 ahead of the Blue Jays. And then they just went into their typical Aaron Boone June swoon. It happens every year with them, and they pissed away all of the lead. And now last year they managed to hold on all the way through, and they stayed in first place. This year they've already given it away. So I had said before the season, I thought Toronto would be better than they've been. The Rays are ever annoying. They're just unbelievably annoying, always there. I actually thought that Boston was going to be the team to beat. This is before they traded Devers, obviously. But I thought that was going to be the team that was going to jump up and give the Yankees the most trouble. And for a while there, I was looking pretty stupid. And now all of a sudden, the Red Sox have gone hog wild. They've got rid of the cancer that was Devers, and they're playing really well. So I'm a little bit concerned that they're only a game behind the Yankees. And the Blue Jays, I think the Blue Jays are a good team. Their bullpen is a little bit wonky, so we'll see, because bullpens are really important, especially down the stretch here. I think the Yankees can still come back and win the division, but the same problems that haunt the Yankees every year are haunting them once again, namely injuries. Now, I know every team has injuries. The Yankees just seem to always have injuries that are killers, and they've lost, their best pitcher. They lost their second best pitcher there for a while with Clark Schmidt, who was pitching great. Their bullpen's got 3 guys on the injured list. They've got issues, and it's the same thing with runners in scoring position. They can't hit. They hit 1 million home runs, and then in the games on the line, man on second base, you got to get them in. They can't get them in. So they frustrate me to no end, and I know I'm a Yankees fan, and I expect probably way too much, and I've been spoiled my whole life, most of my life at least, but I just expect more from the Yankees, and they just never seem to deliver. They made the World Series last year. Big deal. They didn't win it. Sorry, you're in it to win it, right? They got there. They didn't win it. So it wasn't good enough for me.
Well, I know it was tough beginning of the season. So you had Garrett Cole, former Pirate, to Tommy John. Gill, he was out.
Yeah,
a lot of these pitchers are tough. Yeah, I mean,
he's due back. He just had his first rehab assignment, so he's due back probably in a few weeks here. So if they can get him back, and if he's the same guy he was last year, which we'll see, he was Rookie of the Year, we'll see, he will definitely help. Now Fried's got this blister issue, which he's had his whole career. He's been unbelievable. Without him, they'd be screwed. I mean, he really has been. He's been their ace when Cole got hurt, and Rodon's been great too. So they have done much better than I thought they would when they started the year without Cole and Heel, and then Stroman, who sucks. He got hurt right away, and now they've lost Schmidt. They have actually kept themselves above water pretty well with the rotation in the tatters that it was. So that's been good. What's hurt them recently is their bullpen. Their bullpen struggled. And you guys, if you follow baseball, you know you've got to have a good bullpen down the stretch and then into October, or you're not going to win.
Absolutely. And I want to ask you about Pittsburgh. We lightly covered Pittsburgh. We actually have a mini pack, season tickets. So a couple series. We're actually going to Detroit, who I was going to ask you. Do you see Detroit as coming out of the AL? Is that
Detroit's Detroit's really good. Probably the best manager in the game in Hinch, which I wish he was with the Yankees. I think they're a really good team. They've got good pitching. They've got a pretty good lineup. They play in the AL Central, which is pretty much a breeze. So they'll fly through that. They're going to be dangerous. They're a really good team. So I would think Detroit. I'm not going to call them the favorite yet. I also think the Astros, as much as everybody hates the Astros, me in particular, because they've always had the Yankees number.
Even non-baseball fans hate the Astros.
Yeah, exactly. Cheaters. So they're a good team. I mean, and I will say we've moved on from the whole stupid sign stealing scandal. It's a different team now, but they have had the Yankees number every time they've played in the playoffs. So that's a big obstacle for the Yankees to get past, and really any team. They're playing pretty well. You're Pirates, man. I don't know what to tell you, Chuck. It's got to be hard. It's like being a Sabres fan, right? It's like being a Sabres fan.
It's double torture. So actually, I'm glad you segued that for me.
We're gluttons for punishment over here, Sal.
I mean, the best thing about Pittsburgh is you got that stadium. I love that ballpark. I've been there probably maybe 5 times.
Yeah,
it's just a great ballpark, great place to see a game. But that's pretty much all you got down there.
Well, so and I don't know because I have to wait to see what the schedule. They start playing again, I believe, tomorrow at post break. I believe we're going to be seeing a Skeens versus Scooble game while we're there. So double aces. Nice. So I wanted to ask you though, will you guys consider giving us another year before you go and take our franchise player away?
I don't know. I think it'd be crazy to trade Skeens. I mean, now he's the meal ticket, right? That's why people go to the ballpark in Pittsburgh. It's Skeens Day, so they'd be stupid to try. I don't care what they could get for him. And I understand the temptation might be there because he would bring back bring back a record type of package. Yeah. But man, that would be. How do you tell your fan base that you trade Paul Skeens 1.5, not even a year into his career?
Right.
That would be insane to me, but. I don't think that's going to happen. Brian Hayes, tell me about him because the Yankees are desperate for a third baseman. I know he's a great fielder. He doesn't hit very well, but is he a guy that I want to go steal from you guys?
You guys, you just cut LeMahieu, right? He's gone?
He's gone.
Brian Hayes is a perennial Gold Glover, probably the best Gold Glover defensive third baseman in the league. He really can't hit worth a shit. He hits about 230, 240. But he'll give you amazing play at thirds if you can platoon him or something. I mean, we're probably looking to trade him, Mitch Keller, who's our second best starter, and we just traded Frazier, our second baseman. So they're definitely going to be selling. But you could do worse than getting Brian Hayes for sure.
Well, when are they not selling?
As possible.
when are they not selling? That's really what
Reynolds too. Reynolds could be available. Who's our? He was a Gold Glover in the outfield. He plays a corner now because he's getting older, but. He hits pretty well. So I think I wanted him. Those guys.
I wanted him a couple of years ago. That was a guy that I was really hoping the Yankees could pilfer from you guys. Now they don't need him. They've got a logjam in the outfield. They need a third baseman and they need pitching. That's what their main things are.
Well, we'll be rooting for you. If we can't root for Pittsburgh, I'll root for the local team.
Team. You're gonna root for the Yankees. Come on, you're not rooting for the Yankees.
You know what? No, I have an affinity for them because if you probably know this as a Yankees fan. We make a lot of trades. Pittsburgh and the Yankees make a ton of trades over the years. They have. Posada, or not Posada. Who is the catcher? Cervelli. We've made a ton of trades in between our two teams. So I kind of support the Yankees. Yeah.
You took Clay Holmes away from you guys. He was good for a while.
And you have Cole. And granted, I'm not mad at you at that one because I think when he went to Houston first.
He went to Houston first. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll go Yankees. If we can't, obviously we're not going anywhere. So.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, what do you got?
Not to mention the fact that you could compare Terry Pagula from a Sabre standpoint to Bob Nutting with these small market owners not doing enough for their teams at this point in time.
I hate that guy.
Yeah, well, you should. I mean, these guys are all billionaires. They're all billionaires, man. Spend some of that money.
Yeah, no kidding. But now to kind of take some things away from sports, Sal, we kind of hinted at it a little bit already, but you mentioned talking about the Bear a little bit, but anything else you're into lately, whether it's TV, books, movies, just these vacation-friendly things that you've been getting into. Also, conversely, just for more of like a humorous thing, we've been kind of adding this bit to our show lately. Has anything really been grinding your gears lately that you just love to vent about at this point in time? Because we've also been getting some good responses out of that from guests lately. So feel free to shoot.
Well, grinding my gears, just about anything in life grinds my gears, guys. I have the patience of a 2-year-old. So traffic is one of my pet peeves. That's why I go to the game. I leave Rochester on game day at like 7 a.m, and I get there by like 9 o'clock because I'm just so done with dealing with game day traffic at the stadium. So I get there at like 9:15, and then I take like a 2-mile walk around the footprint, and that's how much I hate dealing with traffic. I'll leave 6 hours before kickoff for a 1 o'clock game. So traffic sucks. Just about anything will grind my gears. Just start naming topics and I'll give you something that I'm pissed off about. Summer's been great. I've been reading about 2 or 3 novels a week. Really enjoy, reading, like Vince Flynn's one of my favorite authors. Great. I love Characters, which was a series of books. CIA stuff. I love all that kind of stuff. So I'm really doing a lot of reading. I told you music has been big. I got my car serviced in April, I think, at the Hyundai dealership. So then a week later, I get an email because I have Sirius capability on my car. So Sirius offers me a 3-month free trial. I've got Spotify. I don't really need Sirius, but now, so I did the 3-month trial. Well, man, I mean, I am loving Sirius XM because there's so much live music that you don't get on Spotify. They've got Pearl Jam concert 3 times a day. There's Springsteen twice a day, all this amazing live content. So I've really been enjoying the Sirius XM app even after my trial was over. So that's been big this summer. I told you it's the summer of Oasis. Love Oasis. They're back on tour. They're in Toronto in the end of August, I think.
I can't even fathom what those tickets cost. I can't even.
That's
fathom.
What I mean. I don't think I can justify taking my wife and spending like $700 to see a band she probably can't stand. So we're probably not going to do it. But there's so much live stuff on the radio and on Twitter. It's like I'm watching the concert anyway. So yeah. And I told you, Pearl Jam, man. All of a sudden, I've got this Pearl Jam rejuvenate. I like them.
I love them. I've never seen them still. I would totally go to a Pearl Jam concert with you.
It's one of the only bands that I've not seen that are like elite, great, all time. I've seen everybody else. But so all of a sudden I'm in this Pearl Jam thing. Well, since I got Sirius, because there's so much live content. So I've been jamming a lot of Pearl Jam lately. I've listened to Springsteen and U2 my whole life, so I'm kind of like putting them to the side burner right now. And the Stones, all that stuff is all what I grew up with. So I'm trying to diversify my musical talent or my musical interest at 62 years old. So I think people would be crazy. They probably laugh if they heard because I take walks around the neighborhood. I walk like 20,000 steps a day with the dog to, try to stay in shape. And I still got the Bose headphones on, right? I think people would be stunned if they heard what was, all this gray hair, and they would hear what I have they'd be stunned, I think. So anyway, it's been a great summer for that.
Yeah, glad to hear that. I mean, as far as music goes, speaking of live concerts, obviously I didn't go because it was in England, of course, but Ozzy's last show with Black Sabbath, I know, was last week. And I watched like most of that stuff that they showed on YouTube. I mean, last summer I went with a friend to see Metallica for the first time in Boston. That was a really a bucket list concert for me to see. So I was really happy to see that. But as far as music goes for us, my wife and I, we're going to go see Mumford & Sons next month. They're coming to Richmond at one of the new amphitheaters that they built downtown. So we're pretty stoked for that.
We're going to a concert this weekend.
Oh, yeah. Young the Giant as well.
We got free tickets at the casino up in Niagara Falls, and we happen to be in town. So we're going to go to that one.
My daughter, who graduated from Richmond, who I told you when I saw you in the airport,
that's right.
That was that weird connection. She likes Mumford & Sons. She likes Mumford & Sons a lot. Her big thing is the Avid Brothers. I don't know why she likes the Avid Brothers. We were driving somewhere, and she was playing the Avid Brothers on her radio or on her, her Spotify. And I'm like, really? This is what you? I don't get the Avid Brothers. Maybe you guys like them. I do not get the Avid Brothers.
I remember listening to them.
She loves them too
when they first came out. Yeah, I remember listening to them when they first came out. They had a few good hits. I mean, they may have been a little bit more on the indie side of things now in the last few years. But I remember the 2010s, that was when they really were peaking for sure. But I mean, they're definitely still good. They give that Mumford and Sons vibe for sure, I think as well. But
shout out to Pa real quick,
yeah,
Pa. So our dad is watching Sal. He texts me and says, I saw Ozzy in 77 at Niagara Falls with Ted Nugent. He just texted me.
Oh my God.
That's fantastic.
I was never a big Black Sabbath fan growing up. I just wasn't a heavy metal fan. I mean, Zeppelin. I mean, I love Zeppelin. They were sort of heavy metal, I guess. But I was never a Black Sabbath, all that stuff. That wasn't really my vibe. But I can understand the appeal. I do.
Yeah. I'll have a hot take with Black Sabbath. I like the Ronnie James Dio version of Black Sabbath better.
Oh, that's a hot take.
Yeah, that's a hot take. I like that one better. I think Heaven and Hell was to me my favorite Black Sabbath. So to me, I think Dio was better Black Sabbath. So,
all right.
Hot take.
Yeah, you're going
to
catch some shit for that, man.
That's okay. Hey, okay. Dio is immortal. R.I.P. to him. But one other thing I was kind of enjoying lately as well, just kind of on the topic of just unrelated things with sports. My wife and I just finished The Pit. That was a fantastic show. HBO.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So never before have I been into a really a medical drama of any kind, but just episode after episode, just not to mention a few were downers, but just edge of your seat action every way through.
We loved that. We came across that, and that we binged that in 2 nights. It was so good. You couldn't stop watching it. It was so good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Great show.
Yeah. So we really enjoyed that. We're at a loss.
HBO's on a little bit of a rebound right now. There was, they were the ultimate in the 2000s, right? With Sopranos and all those great shows, The Wire. Awesome. I've seen those
Game of Thrones,
5 times each. Yeah. I wasn't a Game of Thrones guy. I don't like all that sci-fi crap, but Sopranos and The Wire, 2 of my all-time favorites. And then they've gone through a period of I really just didn't give a shit what they had. But now lately, we still have HBO, and we're they're starting to pick it back up again now. In The Pit was one of the best ones they've had for years. Great show.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and the main guy I think was on ER. I never got into ER ever, but I know he was on ER at once.
Noah Wiley,
yeah,
that was his breakout. That was when he first became a star. Yeah. Great show.
Of course. But yeah, Sal, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate everything you've been able to share with us today. But now feel free to give yourself a plug for our listeners here and now our viewers who are tuning in as well, for where they can read your stuff as well as listening to your work as well on the podcast side of things.
Yeah. I mean, I cover the paper. I cover the bills for the Democrat and Chronicle in Rochester. So, my Twitter feed's my name at Sal Maiorana. You can get all my D&C stuff at the D&C website. I do the BLEAV in Bills podcast with Adam Benini. We're sort of in vacation mode. We haven't done one for a while, but I did talk to him the other day, and I think we're going to be, gearing that back up with training camp. So that's been fun.
Nice.
And then I do my Pinstripe People newsletter, my Yankees newsletter, which is free. And it's right at the top of if people want to see my Twitter feed, the link is my pinned tweet. So you want to sign up for that. It goes right to your email. And I put a lot of time and effort in that for something that's free. People think I'm insane, but it's sort of I use that as my way to vent. I'm a writer, and I kind of use that vehicle to vent about the Yankees. So that can be semi-interesting or entertaining, I guess, when they're playing poorly, especially.
I need to copy that from you.
People to do that.
I need to be writing about the Pirates. Put them on blast. That's what I need to do.
There you go, man. Yeah. I mean, it's a great way to get your feelings out. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
True labor of love and hate, I guess, if you could do it that way too.
It is. It's definitely a passion project for me. So I enjoy doing it.
Awesome. So, but folks, again, thanks for tuning in. If you weren't able to tune in live on this time, obviously it's a middle of a work day, of course, for many of you, but you could hear the audio side once we get things straightened up, either by the end of the day today or by as late as tomorrow. Wouldn't you say, Shaun?
You tell me. You want it to come out today? We'll work on it for today. No problem.
Hey, there you go. Love to see that. But again, folks, we're both Shaun's already there, but I'm going to be making my way to Buffalo not long after him. I'll be arriving there tomorrow. We will see you at Mafia Con. So we're looking forward to seeing you there. So again, everybody, thanks as always, and let's go Buffalo.
Let's go Buffalo.
Go Bills. I'm going to get killed for saying that, though.